Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Morning Sports Podcast. I am BA along with James Trey Martin, Keith Ingle, and Jack Hurst. I hope you gentlemen are having a wonderful Sunday morning to start off. I know it's early for all of us, but you still have a good morning. Still have a good morning. Are we having a good morning, Jack?
We're having a good morning. We're having a good morning. It depends how it ends the show, not how it begins. It always begins okay. Let's see how it ends. Let's see who I'm mad at the end. So far, you're in the lead, Brian.
Yes. I want to keep that up until the end of the show. Anyway, let's start off not with the Hall of Fame game because that was Thursday. It was an exciting game for a preseason game. Where Carolina beat the Cardinals 33-30 on a last-minute touchdown by King for the Panthers. Very hard-fought game. But what I want to do is turn our attention to the inductions that happened yesterday. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Adam Vinatieri, Luke Kuechly, and Roger Craig were officially inducted to the Hall of Fame yesterday. There was a lot of good speeches. We were talking before the show about some of the speeches that were on hand. Before I get into that, one of the ones that I really was kind of heartbroken about was Roger Craig and his revealing that he had been diagnosed with vascular dementia, probably due to his concussions he suffered during his football career. He pretty much said there was a video thing for that. But yeah, I thought that was a heart-touching moment just because of that whole situation. Did you watch it, Jack? Did you watch it, Keith?
Yeah, I watched it, a fair part of the induction ceremonies. We were also having a Yankee old-timer, game going on, so I was kind of going back and forth between the two. It's a problem with the dementia with Roger Craig. It's a problem for the whole sport of football like it is for boxing. Guys are playing a little too long. They're getting hit a little too much. The extra season or two that they tried to milk out a career, it unfortunately has an effect, and I don't know what to say. We sometimes see players suddenly retiring. They don't want to go on longer. I mean, I'll give you a name, case in point, even at the quarterback position, who you think would take a few less hits, Andrew Luck. He retired a little early. They're thinking certain players about their career after football or how they're going to be years later. And Herm Edwards said it best. I'm listening to him talking about it a while ago. He said, we never think of things on the back end when we play, how it could affect us years later, even decades later. And it has an effect. That's why I wince when I think of Travis Kelce. Well, I just want to play one more year. That one more year could be the difference of quality of life later on. And we love this sport, guys. We talk about it all the time. We love this sport. But, there's got to be a line where these players know where make your money, play your X amount of time, and you kind of have to know, when to get out.
I agree with Jack. I did see a lot of this yesterday, especially Craig and Adam Vinatieri, and it's a sad situation. It's a little different today than years ago when players didn't know the situation, right? And the NFL didn't really educate them. Players are well educated now. Yes, they're young. They think they're indestructible still, to kind of Jack's point, and you don't think about the future as much. But you do know going in what could happen, and you're well compensated for it. And it's very hard to change. As much as this is tragic, it's very hard to change this sport and have the sport that we all love. You can't legislate the violence out of football. That's part of what attracts people to it. And it's an unfortunate situation. But again, I think these guys today know a lot better than they knew a few decades ago what they're putting themselves in danger for.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with both of you. The phrase from a great movie in 2000, I went to the movie theater to see it, Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? As Maximus Decimus Meridius telling the crowd as they're roaring, as he's like slicing and dicing. We're talking about the Gladiator games. with slaves who were guys who fought for entertainment to the death. And this is a different day and age now. Obviously, we're playing a different game, but it's still violent, as you said, Keith. And it's something that people turn a blind eye to, and we all do. I'm guilty. I love seeing somebody get their head knocked off, in football, in sports. I mean, we could say we don't. You're hypocritical if you saying you don't like that.
Doesn't ESPN still do the "he got jacked up" segment? I mean, that's
come on.
Right?
I mean, I get it. And now these guys are smarter now. We just got a guy who just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, in Luke Kuechly, who was sort of forced to retire because of concussions, but he got into the Hall of Fame. And we're also mention Patrick Willis, another guy who quit after 7 years. He was an elite 5-6-time first team All-Pro. And he got into the Hall of Fame himself as well, but knew he got his money. That's the thing. These guys now, if you look at the time during the 70s and the 80s, these guys didn't get paid a lot of money. Some of these guys had to work second jobs. Now these guys are making life-altering and changing money where they can get in for a few years, get as much as they can, and then get out a little sooner, try to preserve their life.
It doesn't work that well. Case in point, look at Tua. Look at Tua. He's made enough money where he can retire and live comfortably, yet he's
a choice. It's a choice.
He knows the dangers.
It's always a choice, but he's had enough concussions.
But again, like you mentioned, Andrew Luck, he was on the stadium crying, but he knew that it was best for him to leave and walk away. It's a decision. It's a choice. So it does work out.
It's so
of course. But I mean, you're grown people. You make your decisions. You live with them. That's the thing. Like you say, it's hard to walk away, but these are the consequences and the repercussions that come with your decision making in life. That's all of us. That's no matter what we do in life. That's just what it is. Like, I get it, what you're saying. It is hard to walk away from certain things in life, but that's just it. You have to make your decision and what's best for you and your family. If it were me, I don't know what I would do. Honestly, I'd be not honest and disingenuous if I told you that it would be easy for me to walk away if somebody's putting that much money in front of me. I probably wouldn't actually.
Well, it's more than money. It's more than even fame. When a group of people want you to be in their club / team, and they're coming after you, we really need you, this and that, and the group's trying to persuade you, it's hard to say no. It's hard to walk away from all the camaraderie. It's hard to walk away from the life.
But they do have all the information today. They know the chance that you're taking. Years ago, they didn't know. So it's a lot different now, because when they were being encouraged to continue to play, they didn't even take them out of games with concussions, back in the day. Well, look at the films from the 60s and even the 70s. And the game was much more brutal than it is today, as brutal as it can be today. And they
Jack, I will say this. You know who's undefeated in all of this that we're talking about? Time. At some point, everyone is going to be finished, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you fight to stay and do what you're doing. And you still got to contend with the end and not being able to get all that glory and everything else you had while you were there.
No, you're right. You're 100% correct. But it's different if you're able to play the game and have a roster spot and perform at a level. It's harder to walk away. It's not as hard when you don't have that much to give anymore. You kind of know. Yeah. So, and at that point, when you don't have much to give anymore, especially a good player, you've played X amount of years and the damage, the toll is already taken in effect. But but the NFL is trying to address it to a degree. But then again, the extended schedule means more games. I'm not sure what the answer is. Maybe, and you guys are going to laugh at me, I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe the answer is, if you're going to extend to an 18-game schedule, every player can only play a max of 14 games. You prorate it, and he can pick the 14 he wants. I'm just throwing it out. I'm not saying that should be the case, but it kind of has to be addressed in some way. Maybe in practices, I don't know what goes on really in the practices. We hear reports. Are they hitting a lot or not?
Not during the season.
You got to hit to a degree to get ready for the game.
During the season,
What,
they
You're
don't hit
saying-
at
where
all.
you draw a line? I don't know.
You're virtually saying bring in load management into the NFL.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say
I
that,
don't know.
No.
But what can be done? I'm asking. I'm looking fancy.
That is one place, Jack. You're right in one specific part of this. Maybe not the load management part, but the NFL is disingenuous when they talk about the fact that they're concerned about player safety, but they keep adding games because of money, and that's all that's about. So they don't have to keep adding games. We didn't have to go to 17 games. We don't have to go to 18 games because I don't want to see load management. I really don't. I don't think anybody does. But you're not going to go back to 14 games either. So let's just kind of put a hold on adding more and more games.
How would you feel if they extended the roster somewhat? Add another 8-10 players and cap the amount of games starters could
You take
play.
away from the game, though. You take away from individual.
The quality of
I
the
mean,
game would suffer. The quality
Yes.
of the game would suffer.
You're not, and you're not gonna. The fun things for stat guys like myself, it's watered down now. You don't see the things. You're not gonna find a 2,000-yard rusher ever again if you're doing that type of thing. You're not gonna have guys looking at Hall of Fame numbers and to get into the Hall of Fame. It's gonna be more watered down if you just bring in way more players. I get having the amount that they have, but I get where you're coming from, Jack. I hear what you're saying. There has to be some sort of solution because it's not going to go away. I mean, this issue is still here, but I mean, it's a part of the game. Unfortunately, it's just a part of the game.
Yeah,
and they could probably do a lot more because the NFL makes a hand over in the fist money, like it's not going out of style. They get their own printing press basically. So that's where it needs to come from. It needs to come from the NFL itself. Get these players, play to get this research done, not fake the research, and not keep adding games on here that makes it worse for these players. And then on top of it, to Keith's point, these players are getting more educated on this situation. You have more and more players coming out and saying, look, my timeline in the NFL is 10 years. I'm get my bag, get out, and pursue something else in my life. So now the kids are getting smarter at that. So that's good to see.
And also, maybe we should not just talk about the NFL. Maybe we should talk about from the early stages of football. Maybe we should stop allowing little kids playing football. Maybe don't play until you're middle
seen
school.
Some of that. I think you've seen some of that now.
Well, in England, I noticed they're capping the age when kids can start playing soccer because they're heading the ball. They feel that might be causing damage later on. So even soccer, it's becoming an issue, heading the ball, hard kicks or whatever. And boxing has been a travesty in that regard. I mean, look at virtually every great fight in boxing history and look how they've wound up. And I don't want to hear it's like coincidence. I mean, people make excuses when Muhammad Ali was damaged. They said, well, other people catch Parkinson's, which is correct, absolutely. And then we hear stories, well, he fell off a bicycle when he was 12 years old. I mean, I don't want to hear that stuff.
Not thousands of times.
I mean, the reality is they
my goodness.
too long in football and boxing, they're intertwined. Same thing.
All right, to go on to some better news on the inductees. James, you have Drew Brees. You're a Saint fan. Drew Brees got inducted. What did you like about his speech?
It embodied who Drew Brees was. When I watched the Saints and watched Drew Brees, trust me, I've been a Saints fan since I was wee high, a little something in my father's, what. I definitely thought Drew Brees' speech was just who he was. He articulated it to my satisfaction to see one more time this guy come on the field and just be a field general and make sure everybody's in their place in an offense, make sure everyone understood their assignments and make sure it held everybody accountable, including himself. He didn't take, and especially the part when he mentioned the no excuses line in regards to why didn't you see that receiver? Why didn't you hit that receiver? Because I couldn't see him. It's your job to see everybody. And he said he couldn't make any excuses for anything. And it's just, the fact that somebody would hold himself that accountable and to accelerate and be continue to strive and elevate and to bring a championship to a team that virtually, honestly, I thought would never come. I just off the history of, putting bags over your heads and having very scant appearances into the playoffs with certain, coaches, players, and different things like that. But yeah, it was one of the best speeches I've heard. And I mean, it was Drew Brees himself, the way he's talking. He was letting you know that I'm still him. I'm still that guy. And he cared. You could tell. I was glad to see the emotional attachment between him and Coach Sean Payton, and how those guys came there together and he pretty much rode off together. And it was just a great moment for New Orleans, the fans. And I'll be honest with you, a few tears came down my face because it was emotional attachment because of the Katrina situation. I have 2 family members that passed from Katrina. And,
sorry.
How about that?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, it just when you see what he meant to the city and what that turnaround meant for the city. It wasn't just for sports. It was for, that whole situation. And I will always forever be appreciative of both Sean Payton and Drew Brees for what they were able to do, not just for that team, but for that city. And again, Drew Brees will never have to have hold a tab anywhere or pay for anything in that city at all, regardless of whatever the situation was when he made his comments or whatever.
Well, maybe now it's good that now, that blew over and there's a big appreciation. But there was a short window where the city,
and it may have been deserved. I'm gonna tell you, it may have been deserved because he said some things out of pocket. He said some things out of pocket.
Well, that's debatable, but everyone has their opinion, which is fine.
Absolutely.
I saw during Katrina, the Saints were displaced, and I saw one of their games. Correct me if I'm wrong, James. I don't remember who they played. It was in the Giants Stadium, actually. I went to see a Saint game, I believe, during that time. It wasn't the Giants or the Jets, NFL game. Who they played. I'd have to Google it and look it up at that time. Drew Brees was a great quarterback. Did you ever wonder what would have been when he was a San Diego Charger? He injured his shoulder the last game of the season. Had he not gotten hurt, would the Chargers have still rolled with Phillip Rivers and still moved on from Drew Brees? Because that's what it seemed they were committed to doing. They didn't realize Drew Brees was going to be as great as he was. But they were set to play Phillip Rivers, and it turned out to be win-win for both franchises. They both got, Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Rivers will be a Hall of Famer, someday as well, even though I give Brees a little edge over Rivers, if you can ask me who was the better quarterback. But what would it have been if he didn't hurt his shoulder, James? So
I'm just going to say
he might have been a Dolphin, and Saban never would have coached Alabama.
Right. I'm just going to say, I think right, exactly. But at the same time, you got to look at, I'm not saying that Drew Brees wouldn't have been great, but everybody has their one guy. It's like with Brady and Belichick and that offense. In that team, you got to look at success is not just predicated. One person's success is not just predicated off what they do alone. I think sometimes it's based off system and everything else that accelerates that. And that's why I was glad to see that he put Sean Payton as the guy to allow him to induct him, because Drew Brees' success probably wouldn't have been nowhere near the level it was without the help of Sean Payton, for sure, without a doubt. And so, especially a guy who's 6 foot, nothing, he's, what guy, with those numbers are at that height, it's just, unless you're looking at like Fran Tarkenton, he's not a big guy, but it's not many short quarterbacks that are like at that level. That's what makes me appreciate Drew Brees a lot more, because of how great he was and how much of an overachiever he was. Don't get me wrong. He was that guy in high school. He was that guy at Purdue. He was drafted in the 2nd round. But again, I think they still would have let him go for Phillip Rivers. If they benched him, like you said, Marty Schottenheimer benched him 3 times. but he loved Drew Brees, and I think Drew Brees would have been good, but I don't think he would have been as great as he was without the Sean Payton and the Saints. Without Drew Brees coming there, we wouldn't even talk about the Saints right now like this. I mean, I just think, or Sean Payton coming there. I just think that lightning, it hits for everybody once in a while. You know, I think the luck hit New Orleans Saints, and we had a good run.
Well,
you should take Nick Saban because he passed on Breeze for Dante Culpepper. So how'd that work out?
Yeah, I think Drew Brees, if you have to rate him all time, I think he sneaks in top 20 quarterback of all time, not top 10. And it's not demeaning. You have to put him behind the Bradys, the Mannings, the Mahomes, the Marinos. Those guys, they rated. They were better than Drew Brees. Aaron Rodgers was likely better than Drew Brees. No, it's not an insult when I'm saying to rate him.
It is an insult. Yeah. I'm going to take it that way. Because there's no way. That's an insult. That's an insult. 20? 20? Come on. 20?
No, I said top 20 somewhere.
Come on. You're pretty much
10. Maybe
he's top 10.
He's top 10, man. There you go. He's top 10, man. Come on.
That's top 10. And
you don't get to be second in yards and touchdowns. Hold on. Stop right there. You don't get to be second in yards and touchdowns and not be top 10. You don't get to be top 10. I mean, you get to be second in yards and touchdowns. That many, I'm sorry. And the first guy to throw for 5,000 5 times, or the only guy, 5 times. You don't get to be that and be top 10. I'm sorry. I mean, not be top 10. You can't. There's no way you can do that. They don't work together like that. It doesn't. You've been dominant that long. The time you've been in with the Saints, let's just say, when he from the Saints to his retirement.
That's why he's an all-time great. He's just not quite in the top 10. He doesn't. You guys,
name me 10 that are better. Name me 10 that are better. That's if you can say that, you got to stand on. Name me 10 that are better.
Brady is better. Obviously.
Fair.
Manning is better.
Fair.
Montana's better.
Okay, Mahomes is better. Okay, now you could start arguing if Marino is better.
The problem is you can't use just numbers because you're going to eliminate, 40 guys who didn't play after 1995.
Well, no. Brees was great, believe me.
I'm not saying he wasn't great.
Young Drew Brees, I would want the Jets to draft him. I might even bypass Trinidad Chambliss to get Brees, okay? That's how high I am
on him.
How did
he get him in every show? Jesus.
Oh, my Lord.
Trinidad Chambliss, by the way, is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mark my words on it now.
I understand.
And he's going to be as good as Big Ben.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, let me tell you something. And that's fine, Jack. That's your opinion. If you have that opinion about Drew Brees, that's your opinion.
Let me ask you a question. Brian, this is for you directly. And this is close. Who is better, Drew Brees and Matthew Stafford?
Drew Brees.
Okay, fair enough. I would give Brees actually maybe a little edge there, but would you say it's close?
A little edge.
Didn't he just say that he threw for 5,000 yards 5 times?
I can't use that as my tiebreaker, though.
He's in my top 5. Drew Brees is automatically in my top 5.
I can use that. I can use
those numbers. All time? Wow.
You can use those numbers as a tiebreaker for guys who played in the same era, but not guys who played before. Like, I can't say he's better than Bart Starr or Staubach. I don't know how those guys would do playing in.
I'm going to say this as well. Drew Brees, name me a Hall of Fame wide receiver that Drew Brees had and versus those guys. Name me that.
Well, maybe.
Well, come on. You can't. You can't. Come on. You can't.
Better.
Come on, no, man. Come on. He made guys look way better. He made a 7th round draft pick in Marcus Colston look like a stud out there. Come on, that guy that probably shouldn't have been drafted out of Hofstra, and he made him look a lot better. Drew Brees he elevated guys around him. He never won an MVP. I'm going to tell you that year he threw for 2,400 yards when he broke the record in whatever the scrimmage yards or whatever the situation was. Aaron Rodgers won the MVP. Aaron Rodgers didn't have nowhere near the same stats, but he won the MVP.
Was Drew Brees better than John Elway, for example?
No, I'm not going to say that. Come on,
Elway
no,
also
no.
played with no Hall of Fame wide receivers.
If I start giving names like that,
But Elway didn't win his Super Bowls until he had a tremendous defense and a running game too at the same time.
That's
come on, come on, Keith.
He didn't have any Hall of Fame receivers.
No,
Yeah, but he definitely had a Hall of Fame defense, though. He definitely had Drew Brees has never had a defense like that. Come on,
Agreed.
He's never had a defense like that. And he had a Hall of Fame. He had a Hall of Fame running back too. He had a Hall of Fame running back as well when he won his Super Bowls. Come on.
You know the unfortunate part here.
I'm not taking. I will say Elway is better though. I'm not discontented. I'm not saying that. I give you that, but I'm not going to just say that he.
I'll give you some other names, and this is arguable. What about Brett Favre, Brees?
I got Brees over Brett Favre. Come on, man. Look at all those interceptions. All those interceptions. He threw the most in the history of the NFL. Come on, man.
You would put Brees over Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, no. I got Aaron Rodgers over Brees. I'm just saying top 10.
My point is this. If we start adding names up, Brees might fall to number 12 on your list. And he might not. We haven't added the names up. I put Brees ahead of guys like Troy Aikman, Terry Bradshaw, Jim Kelly. I place him above those guys.
Everybody should be ahead of Bradshaw. I wouldn't even throw Bradshaw's name in the mix. Everybody. His defense won 4 Super Bowls. Come on, man.
Teams win Super Bowls, not individuals.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree.
Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. I put him
clearly ahead of guys like Eli Manning. I put him clearly ahead of guys like that. I respect him, tremendous respect for Drew Brees. I have. Would I put him ahead of Josh Allen? Allen's career is over. I don't know about that. I can't say I would, quite honestly.
Wow.
Either actually, I don't know about that one.
Brees was great. A slam dunk Hall of Famer. I wouldn't have to think. If I got a ballot, I'd check Brees' name off immediately. He's not one of the guys I overanalyze.
Part of this, the reason why I do this as well is because this guy again was 6 foot. He couldn't see over the line. He stood on his toes to throw the ball. There's so many different things and variables you got to look at and say this guy. He far exceeded what he was supposed to do. He wasn't supposed to be this. I'm just telling you.
Fine, but that doesn't make him better than the other.
Hell yeah, it does. The ones I'm talking about. Yeah, the ones. Like you just mentioned, Josh Allen. No, come on. He's not. I can't even. You question him right now. He hasn't even finished his career yet. He hasn't even got to a Super Bowl. He's done some things that have pushed him back. Him and Lamar Jackson. That they have not gotten over the hump because of certain things that's on their back and on their watch.
Great. I agree. All those.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen, yeah. I mean, they get an incomplete. Joe Burrow. Let's wait to see how they're.
Yeah, I'll give you Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes.
Agree with that.
Patrick Mahomes has done it.
We can evaluate now. I think we can evaluate
exactly.
Mahomes as an all.
I got him above Brees. Right. Fair enough. I'm gonna be fair. Yeah, he's above Brees for sure.
None of this should be disparaging to Drew Brees, by the way, except mentioning maybe Terry Bradshaw.
Right.
No, I think he's better than Bradshaw. Brees is better than Bradshaw. I'd rather have him than Bradshaw.
Hold on a second. Even if you say, I'm trying to kind of put this in context that none of it means Drew Brees was not a great quarterback and a great player, because even if he's 10th or 12th in the
history, right?
90-year-old history of the NFL. That's pretty damn good.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
No, Keith. There's a distinct difference. There's a distinct difference between 12 and 20. When Jack says top 20,
in the top 20. I didn't say he was 20th.
He's in
the top
usually
20.
I disagree with that, because usually when people say what their top is, it's either 20, 15, 10 or 12 or something like that. When you say 20, you're closer to 20. Yeah, when you say 20, you're closer to 20.
I'll go down top 15 without even analyzing the numbers. But I can't say top 10.
So Jack,
I can't quite say that right
in your
now.
top 15, where's Dan Marino at?
Marino is a top 10 quarterback.
How can you say Marino's a top 10 cornerback?
I can't get.
Well, hold up. How can you say he's a top 10 cornerback and he does have receivers that are in the Hall of Fame, and Drew Brees does not?
Well, you said it was a team game, and
it is a team game, but individually,
the
you got to get there.
Defenses was soft when he played there. You know, it's a team game in that respect.
Yeah, and I would argue maybe neither one of those receivers in the Hall of Fame without Dan Marino throwing the football. So,
well, that's true.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, Marino would.
Well, who's in the Hall of Fame? Who's in the Hall of Fame from Miami? From Dan Marino
is, I believe, isn't he?
No, nor Mark. The Marx brothers, Mark Duper or Nor Clayton are in the Hall of Fame. I don't think so. No.
I think Mark Clayton is.
I thought
Mark Clayton is Clayton is he might be.
Let me find
out.
Yeah.
Mark Clayton is.
They both have some outstanding numbers from him. I will say.
You know what? Only Paul Warfield and Chris Carter are in the Hall of Fame that played with the Dolphins.
You know, and I'm going to tell you, sometimes it's how we look at a body of work. For a short body of work, if we're going to talk peak value, and you take a quarterback at his zenith, at his very best, not for career, for short periods, I could throw it out and say Lamar Jackson is as great as anyone. He does incredible things, Lamar Jackson, and he's not given credit for, how he passes the ball. And there's a perception about Lamar Jackson, and I've said it because he's a black quarterback who could run the way he does. There's this perception, there's a stereotype that a John Elway didn't have that stereotype because he was white. John Elway
let's take the stereotype out of the situation. Lamar Jackson is an excellent regular season quarterback. What he's got to do to cement his career, as a all-time great, is at least get to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't even say he's got to win one. I'd say because he's a two-time MVP.
Got to win one.
Yeah,
you gotta win one.
Now you're falling in the stereotype because Marino didn't win one. He went to one. He went to one, but he didn't win one.
How he's going to be perceived. Marino was so great. Had Marino won a couple of Super Bowls, we might be talking about him arguably as the best ever, or he'd be elevated tremendously over what he is now.
I agree.
Dan Marino, if I said to you guys in any sport, who's the greatest single individual player in any sport, combining them all, who did not win a championship, we immediately think of Dan Marino. I mean, who else do we think about who never quite won a championship?
In any sport?
You think Charles Barkley a little bit?
I was going to say Charles Barkley.
Right.
Barry Sanders.
Sanders, great. But
wow.
You could get away with it, but Brian, you could get away without winning a championship for some crazy reason. If you're running back, they don't hold you responsible, but you're held accountable if you're quarterback.
Which, to me, I mean, again, it's a team sport. No individual is greater than the team, but at the same time, you can't. Everybody's held responsible because it's a team sport. So you ever see Barry Sanders in playoff games? He wasn't exactly the greatest playoff performer, that's for sure. He had his moments in the playoffs, like when in the '91 when he, dogged Dallas out there for a minute. But even that game, it was more of a passing game. People don't realize that Eric Kramer had some yards. He like 400 yards passing in that game. Barry, I don't think Barry got he might have got over 100 in that game, but he barely got over 100. He had that one electric run. That's what you look at Barry for. The electric runs, the stuff that he stop and start move. When you get into the playoffs, it's a whole different situation. And that's why you got to look at the team perspective of it, not just the individual. And quarterbacks, admittedly enough, because they are leaders of the team, they get that scrutiny of, he hadn't been to a Super Bowl. That's what you measure the Hall of Fame quarterbacks by. But I don't think that's a fair assessment either. There's some Frank Tarkenton. There you go. Perfect example of a great quarterback.
I used to argue with Mac about this with Tarkenton, and Keith saw Tarkenton play there, I believe. I never rated
Jim Kelly.
Tarkenton.
Did you like Tarkenton, Keith?
No, I didn't think he was that great. He was a wonderful. He'd be my franchise quarterback, but I didn't think he was an all-time great. And I put Breeze ahead of Fran Tarkenton.
Tarkenton accumulated a lot of numbers and didn't win
When he retired, he was an all-time leading passing quarterback, right?
Yeah. Put him in the category of Dan Marino, and I know the naked eye test. Marino was clearly better.
He was a great quarterback, but he's closer to 20 than he is 10. I can tell you that right now.
He might not
Fran
even
Tarkenton?
be top
Maybe
20.
not there. Maybe if I go deep, I may be able to get 20 guys. I don't know. I'll give you a name of a guy who never won a championship, though, who's the best player, one of the best players in the history of the sport, was Barry Bonds.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, baseball, we don't hold guys accountable. Aaron Judge might never win a World Series, okay?
Maybe.
I mean, but how accountable are people going to hold him? Hank Aaron only won one his whole career. Willie Mays only won one his whole career. But we don't hold baseball players accountable. The big debate used to be who is greater, Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays. No one says, well, Mickey has 7 rings and Willie has 1. No one uses that argument in baseball, but they use it in basketball.
They do against certain players.
They
They use it to prop up players, though. I can tell you dozens of guys who've argued with me that Derek Jeter would never be thought of the way he is without the World Series rings.
And that's goofy.
Well, Derek Jeter has the 6th most base hits in baseball history if he did it with another team. I mean, it's a stat you can't deny.
Well, again, that's Yankee haters who.
Yeah, fair enough.
Jeter.
I agree. Yeah, we
So
talked a lot.
From,
this is a great debate. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Talked about record breakers. Keith, you had a player go into the Hall of Fame yesterday too, and Adam Vinatieri. Did you watch his speech?
I did. It was very funny, and he gave credit. I mean, he knocked guys like Belichick, his own coach, but he also, mentioned that he was the greatest coach of all time. And he made you be prepared, and he made him the player that he was. He was there a long time before Belichick was with the Patriots. I thought it was a great speech. He's a great player. He made some of the biggest kicks in the history of the NFL. He's only the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's only the 3rd kicker ever to get in the Hall of Fame.
And again, I missed it. Did he mention Tony Dungy, his coach at Indianapolis?
I don't. His
recall.
name came up, but it didn't.
He mentioned the team.
He did mention a team. I don't know
But
if he
did he
mentioned
mention
Dungy
his
specifically.
coach there?
I don't remember if he
Dungy
mentioned
was-
Dungy specifically or not, Jack. I can't.
No, he didn't.
I'm not recollecting.
Wow.
it, so I'm thinking he didn't.
Is there anything there to him not mentioning it? And
I doubt it.
Well,
He only mentioned
I don't
one
think so.
player. He mentioned Peyton Manning. He joked about his forehead for a while,
Yeah.
and then he mentioned the team and he mentioned the fans. And that I don't think he deliberately took a shot at Dungy or anything like that.
People forget that, with all the Patriot wins that he had last second kicks in 3 of those Super Bowl wins, the first 3.
Yep.
So he was important there. And this dynasty may never get started without him making at least one of the most clutch kicks in the history of football in the snow game. You can talk about the Tuck rule all you want, but if he doesn't kick a 45-yard field goal in the wind and the snow, this dynasty might never get started. Great player. I was a little disappointed that he had the woman, the CEO of the Colts, present him, and not somebody from the Patriots. I know he played more years with the Colts than he did with the Patriots, but people think of the Patriots and they think of Vinatieri.
That's what I was going to ask you about. What's he thought of more of, a Patriot or a Colt? I think of him still more as a Patriot because that's what his rating started.
no doubt.
Obviously, I do.
No doubt.
The guys who aren't fans of the Patriots some of them might think of him as a Colt because he did play longer there and he did win a Super Bowl there, but he didn't have nearly the impact there that he had in New England.
Let me ask
Absolutely.
you this, guys.
I agree.
Considering how Belichick was snubbed for the Hall, had Vinatieri asked him to present, do you think Belichick shows up? It would have created an awkward situation for everyone involved because all reporters would have been all over Belichick just talking about Belichick. I think Belichick normally would have showed up for Vinatieri, one of his former players, normally, but it would have been a circus had Belichick been there.
He did mention McAfee. That was pretty funny, actually.
Very funny, Rick.
Yeah, Pat McAfee.
Little risky.
It's always a joke in there with Pat McAfee.
Yeah. We got to
turning-
evaluate these talk show hosts one time and pit them
Yeah.
against one another.
Well, we probably figured out who was going to win that one.
Usually the
Let's see
biggest
what
joke with McAfee is when Rogers is on his show.
Yeah.
And for another side note about Vinatieri that people may not know out there is that he was undrafted. So
Yes, undrafted for sure. Yep.
And one of the people that he enshrined in his life as being a kicker was also in the Hall of Fame, and Morton Anderson. So
Morton Anderson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Flavor of the
yeah,
Saints.
very
Mm.
I think
Morton
Anderson and Jan Stenerud are the only other two kickers in the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame, I believe.
You are correct, Amundo.
no, it's
All right.
4 now. It's 4 now. I
Is it
forgot who
4?
the other
Yes,
one was.
for you.
Yeah.
Well,
Who's the other one?
Yeah, look it up because I can't. I'm on the phone.
Hall of Fame kickers. I think the other one might be a punter, as a matter of fact. Not even
Ray Guy, I think it's
it might be Ray Guy.
Guy.
Yeah, it's Ray
The Ray
Guy.
Guy was
Yeah.
the first. I think the Raiders drafted
Only
kickers
punter.
twice in the first round. I think they drafted Ray Guy in the first round. And what was that kicker, Janikowski or something?
Oh
Sebastian
yeah.
Years ago,
yeah.
right? First round. Now, guys, you don't have to draft a kicker that high because you're even watching the United Football League and guys are taking 61-yard field goal attempts and sometimes making them. So it's crazy how much better the kicking has become.
I think Janikowski should be in the Hall of Fame. He's the only guy to kick with an ankle monitor on his leg, for crying out loud.
You're funny.
All right, moving on from the Hall of Fame, just give a shout out to Larry Fitzgerald and of course Luke Kuechly.
Oh, man.
Both of them were high professionals in their sport. Larry Fitzgerald was second in receptions only to Jerry Rice, so that's great. He was always one of my top 5 receivers too. So that's just me, but he was a very good receiver. Luke Kuechly, it goes without saying, he wrecked offenses when he was playing with Carolina. Very good guy. He's very cerebral at that middle linebacker position.
I would
So-
say it's a great class, and it's also one of the classiest classes to go in the Hall of Fame. This is just, there's nothing bad to say about any of these guys.
Right.
Not at all.
Absolutely.
Moving on to current NFL, the Commanders lost tackle Laramie Tunsil due to a ruptured bicep. He's got to do surgery. Now he's going to miss a significant portion of the season. He's not going to miss all of it, thank God. But down goes another person.
By the
That's
time
not
it
just
gets
another person.
It might not
Yeah,
matter
that's
with the
it.
Commander team.
Yeah, Jaden's gonna be running for his life because
Yeah,
that's your
yes.
your blind side, and Larry Montanto is actually a really good.
James, you mentioned a point that's thought-provoking, like with Jaden Daniels. How many times are we seeing these hot shot first-year quarterbacks? And I like Jaden Daniels a lot. They never can recreate the magic. It started with RG3. He was really good as a rookie. People forget. CJ Stroud, is he ever going to be what he was? And Jaden Daniels, did these guys peak in their first year? CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels, and it's only going to be downhill? I don't know. I expect Jaden Daniels to bounce back somewhat, but I'm not as confident about CJ Stroud.
I don't know what to say about CJ Stroud, but I will tell you my reservations about Jaden Daniels. The only thing I have reservations regarding him was his sleight of size. I mean, he's a very slender. He's tall. He's 6'4", but he's a very thin frame quarterback. And that last year was due to injury. Really not much else. And so you really need to protect him because he can throw the ball. He's cerebral. He can throw. He can dissect the game very well. It's just a matter of whether or not he's going to be healthy, and that scares me. If I'm a GM or an owner in this situation, that's the risk you took when you took Jaden Daniels that high. And but talent, I'm not worried about Jaden Daniels in regards to talent like CJ Stroud. We're not going to put him in that same category. RG3. I think his injuries, he was injury prone in college. And, this is a guy that ran hurdles. He was super fast. He can run the ball, but he tore ACL then, and he his rookie season, that knee issue was a big deal, and I think he never was the same afterwards because a lot of his game was based off his speed. And so, yeah, I just think that Jaden Daniels, they need to shore up that offensive line. Hopefully, they got a good backup behind him, Laramie Tunsil. Like you said, B, he's going to miss a significant amount of time.
Yep. And you need your blind side being protected, especially. It doesn't make a difference if you're a running quarterback or not. Also, give kudos to 49er coach Kyle Shanahan. He intends to be on the sideline for the team's preseason opener on Thursday. I mean,
With a
yeah,
cane?
the accident, yeah. I've been beating old people over the head with it. But anyway, yeah, it's good for the fact that, you know, he's being a trooper, even though it was his mistake that cost him to be out the sideline for a while.
Did you see that he was a self-driving or not a self-driving car? It was one of those cars that was
Autonomous?
driving for him. So that came out yesterday as well. So he
With the
wasn't
accident,
actually
really?
driving. He wasn't actually driving. The car was driving itself. And
Wait.
he doesn't know-
Hold on.
Yeah, he was in a,
Did he own the car? Did he own this car?
He owned the car, and it was I don't know what you call the cars that drive
Autonomous.
themselves.
Autonomous
Thank
vehicle.
you. Autonomous car. And he doesn't. When he reached for his phone, he doesn't know if he turned it off somehow or if there was a malfunction. I think you're supposed to be paying attention, even though you're in an autonomous
Yes.
car. You're supposed to be paying attention.
So I would love the idea and find out if he fell asleep behind the wheel.
Now
car
there's a little
fell
bit more
asleep,
coming out all
yeah.
the time. There's a little bit more coming out all the time about this.
He said he was reaching for a cell phone. But
Yes.
unless anyone listening out there, never get distracted
Yeah.
when you're driving. And
You're reaching
don't
for a
reach
cell
for
phone, but your car's
unless
driving
you
itself.
Stopped at a light already. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's more coming out about this story.
Yeah, I think there is.
Somebody fell asleep behind the wheel.
He is very lucky that young lady did not suffer injuries.
Yes.
Because if he did, he would have been, he probably
Listen,
wouldn't be a coach.
I thought there was something weird when we didn't hear a peep that this accident even happened for like 3 weeks before the story came out. And I just said then, something's weird about that.
There might be a payment going to the young lady,
Might be.
perhaps.
I wouldn't
not.
I would
don't
assume
know.
so.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. That's
Mm.
the way it should be. Maybe to look.
Probably got her a new car and
I'm not.
gave her some money.
Yeah,
A new attitude.
If they can settle quietly, that's the way to go. We shouldn't even know about it. If they could settle everything quietly and so
But-
on. And he doesn't have a history, Shanahan, like a Tiger Woods has. Now, with Tiger Woods, I don't want to dismiss quietly because Tiger Woods is going to either kill someone else, if not himself. So his situation has to be addressed very strongly, even though publicly, where judge has to just take his driver's license away for X amount of years. And Tiger Woods can more than afford to have chauffeurs take him wherever.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, you're a billionaire.
Cocaine.
Yeah, that part.
Stop taking drugs.
Right.
That's what you Raiders coach Clint Kubiak suspended quarterback Kirk Cousins and defensive end Max Crosby from team drills Saturday following their altercation on the field. I don't know too many coaches that would do that, to tell you the truth. I think he's just trying to establish some kind of leadership role in his coaching, his head. Because I think any other coach probably would not have done that. It would have been just like, okay, settle the hell down, take it in the locker room and chill out for a minute, then come back out here and do something. Not suspend him.
I'm going to tell you, I read that Max Crosby tends, I don't want to use the word cheap shots, but goes a little overboard sometimes in practice. And Cousins is a veteran. He doesn't have a reputation of blowing up at the defense. So I would side with Cousins in this, thinking that Crosby got a bit out of control and maybe hit Cousins extra hard unnecessarily. And Cousins reacted. I can't blame him. And that's a form of leadership that Cousins showed.
Hold up before you get carried away on that one end about Max Crosby. What happened was Kirk Cousins threw a pass. Max Crosby tipped it. Cousins got heated because he tipped it and came after Max Crosby. That's the word on the street. So I think sometimes your little competitive nature kind of gets in a way and over stupid little stuff like that because he tipped the pass.
But why would he get mad? Isn't it Crosby's job to tip the pass, do whatever?
But it's drills. It was during drills. That's what it was. And they were just lined up. And then Max probably came up there and just knocked it down just to be funny or whatever the case may be. And Cousins did not see that as a form of comedy. So he came after Max, which is kind of dumb in your case because you're going against a guy that hurts you for a living. So I don't know.
But would have been bigger news. Could I tell you something? It would have been bigger news. I mean, this will blow over. He's talking about it, but it's no big deal. If it was Fernando Mendoza who went after a veteran, now that would have been news because, like a rookie's not supposed to. But in a way, I would like that if a rookie just stood up to vets. I would kind of like that.
From that position, particularly, yes.
Yeah.
From the quarterback position, yes. You definitely want to see your rookie come in with some moxie and some leadership.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Well, he got his chance to play, though, Fernando, because of the suspensions between the two. He got his chance to go out there and, did some first team reps. So that was fortunate for Mendoza.
And more than likely, when the look, this is nothing. These guys, that's just training camp. So many different things going to happen between guys, man. I've seen it. What was the guy? Kenneth Walker got tackled. He threw the ball at one of his players. Jamar Chase, the first day, he took a guy's helmet off or something like that. It's just and they like it too.
A lot of defense.
The coaches are right. If a player does something like that where he might get ejected, coaches gotta discipline him that moment, get the point across the rest of the team, because this is going to mean an ejection if you do this during a regular season game.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in high school, I got to fight in practice.
Was it Jeffrey Simmons Salah sent to the other end of the field because, he had an interaction with Cam Ward, and the thing was with Simmons, if he did that during a regular season game, he was going to get kicked out of the game. So you make your point by sending him to another end of the practice field and don't let him practice with the team the rest of the day.
Suspension, though, I don't think is warranted in any of those cases. If the coach is good enough to come out there in the field and say, hey, knock it off, because if that happens in a real game, you're going to cost us. Stop doing that. And that's all you need to say because you're a head coach. Suspending them, though?
No, I don't mean suspend them. I mean that day. I meant that day for practice, you send the player. Yeah. He doesn't practice with the team. He's at the other end of the field working on his own to get the point across. He's not involved in the drills the rest of the day. And everyone sees, look, he would have gotten kicked out of the game. So you go to the end. For the rest of the day. That's all I mean. I don't mean the suspension.
No. Yeah. I get what you're saying too. And I just think the suspension was just a little bit too much on that one. I think, especially between two.
No, I didn't mean. I didn't mean suspension. I
know what you meant, Jack. I'm just saying that I just thought it was a little much for them to be suspended. Being that they're veteran players, so they know better what they're doing out there. So really all you have to do is say, hey, knock it off. Knock it the F off. Whatever you got to say to them to get it through their heads, hey, it's just practice. Chill. So I wouldn't suspend them.
John Harbaugh.
Guys, we got 5 minutes to go. What else can we talk about? Yeah.
Real quick in the Major League Baseball, A's topped the Red Sox streak at 9, 7-2, I believe they won. And the A's beat Boston, and then Dodgers end their losing streak at 7 by beating the who the hell they beat? Cubs in 10 innings. Arizona in 10 innings. Yeah, it was looking ugly for the Dodgers there after all this World Series. We're going all the way there. I was like, you got swept twice, and you look like you're about to get beat by Arizona for a second time, but they managed to come through. So that's a Major League. One other thing, just the WNBA. What's going on with the Indiana Fever? I tell you what, even if you don't watch the WNBA, this team is always focused on sports on the front page of any sports because of things that's going on between either Caitlin Clark or Sophia Cunningham. So Sophia Cunningham gets clothesline going to the rim by Dejanay Carrington from the Chicago Sky. And so after the play happens, they get up and get in each other's face. Carrington gets a flagrant 2, which she should have got because she wasn't going for the ball. She was going for that neck. But then she gets ejected, goes into the locker room, and posts. I mean, she untie her shoes. She's posting on social media as soon as she gets into the locker room saying, "Oh, it's white privilege," and tagged the Fever into it.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
What is going on here?
Well,
And then Sophia Cunningham, of course, she's in the controversial stance on the transgender players maybe entering the WNBA, which I'm not going to even go on it because I have my thoughts on that whole situation.
Well, Enos Cantor Freedom has entered his name into the 2027 draft.
that's why the
White too.
WNBA. I don't care for the drama.
I thought it was genius on their part to do that because that's just goofy. Yeah, exactly. That's just goofy to even think to even allow that. That don't even make sense.
It don't.
Just tell little girls that, hey, you know what? Don't worry about playing this sport because you're going to have people, even though they might be taking some sort of hormone suppression, they still can allowed to play, and they're going to break your records. They're going to do everything else. They're going to dominate your game.
Yes.
That's just why try? Don't try. That's what you're saying.
It's a bad look for the WNBA for even kind of looking into that. I mean, I understand the woke community, but you know what? There's too much people waking up here. They need to go back to sleep. Anyway, meanwhile, and then Caitlin Clark picked up supposedly her 8th tech in this game.
Well, it wasn't.
But it wasn't a tech because she got pushed into the ref, and the ref, oh, you bumped me. I'm going to give you a tech. So after the WNBA reviewed it, she got it rescinded. So I'm going to tell you what, next year you got two more teams. Well, you got one more team entering the league, and you got another one going to Houston next year. I think people need to start watching the WNBA because it's starting to get rowdy out there. It's
I mean,
this is a
little bit interesting, the personalities. Maybe it's going to draw people.
They need to make more news on the court, though, and less off the court.
Yes.
And it's not going to happen.
I think these two right here are just on the court things that happen. I mean, they're always going after Sophia or Caitlin. I don't know what it is about the whole WNBA going after those two, but I really like Sophia Cunningham because she is an antagonist. She will attack.
I mean, are they getting news for being the WNBA or are they getting news for being the WWE? I mean, it seems like it's more entertainment wrestling.
What they say, no, there's no bad news in social media. There's no bad news in media. It's whatever you can get from that. So
the only bad publicity is no publicity.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway,
hilarious.
Well, it's been a great morning, guys. Great Hall of Fame. Going over the Hall of Fame players and inductees and stuff like that. I hope everybody has a great rest of the Sunday. We will see you next week, 8:00 a.m. on Sunday, and catch Jack and Frank tomorrow on the Gloved Fist at 7 p.m. Everybody, Eastern time. Have a great weekend.
You guys.